Hi,
Hey,
welcome back.
this is the podcast where we review books, discuss topics, controversial or not, and give our opinions as licensed therapists. Welcome back.
Yeah, we do a lot.
Mhm.
It's a laundry list of stuff. This pressure's too much. Just
I-
kidding.
I thrive under pressure.
I do too. That's the ADHD in me.
Under pressure.
Under pressure. How's your week?
Busy, but not bad. It's just busy.
Busy,
Working.
working, making that money.
You? How's your week been?
Long, good, but long. Sick kids. You know,
The usual.
the huge. I'm really tired.
Me too.
I didn't sleep, like I said, for like 2 days because my baby was sick. So
Poor kiddos had bad luck lately.
I know she's been sick for months with ears and sinuses and all that disgusting nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, when you told me that she was sick again, I was, poor kiddo can't catch a break.
She really can't. Every time she starts feeling better, then it's like the next day she's just feeling bad again. Anyway, I'm Caitlin.
I'm Sarah.
This is Books, Booze,
And Besties.
Welcome, welcome. So this week,
We are talking about hidden pictures,
yes,
which if you follow us on social media, you know all about,
I'm so excited
to talk about something new.
no more after for at least a few weeks. We'll, like we said, we'll do a little mini review on the next movie, but I'm sure we won't have anything positive to say. So,
Which we are going to see Wednesday, if anybody wants to hit us up in Richmond.
yeah,
Which this comes out the same day that we're going, so
listen and meet up.
hopefully you listen to the last chapter, because then you definitely know.
Yes.
Drink of the week this week is Gravedigger.
Yeah.
We went with something more fall themed. Saw some leaves falling today, September.
As appley.
This book, if you've read it, doesn't give you many options to get a drink based off the book, so we got creative for fall.
Yeah, there was wine, but really that was it. So we'll just focus more on fall because we are sluts for fall.
We're fallaholics.
Fall. Oh, I love it. Fallaholics.
Hashtag fallaholics.
Fall. That's Christmas.
Hashtag October through December.
September.
Hashtag September through December.
Yeah. I got a fall shirt on.
I have a
It
Kentucky
literally
shirt
says
on.
it's fall, y'all, on the back.
It is fall, y'all.
I know. I thought I had writing on the sleeve.
I thought it did too. I thought I
Where'd
saw
it go?
something earlier.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it just says Kentucky Girl, but on the back it says it's fall, y'all. And we got our fall drinks, and I've been drinking everything pumpkin.
We have spooky cups. And we're going to decorate the studio soon with some Halloween decorations.
It's so awesome. This is the month where I thrive the most.
I thrive the most from mid-October to Thanksgiving.
I just pretend like August 1st, I just start pretending it's fall, even though it's like hot as balls outside.
I can't do it. It's too hot. I want to wear my sweaters and my sweatshirts.
I know.
Hate it.
I do too. I hate the weather. It makes me really cranky when I go outside and I'm like, it's too hot to wear a sweater. I mean, like, it's probably too hot to wear a long sleeve tee, but I don't care.
I hate getting sweaty, so.
I hate getting sweaty outside. I just hate, like, not being able to breathe when you walk to your car. It just makes me really unhappy.
Summer makes me really unhappy.
Same. I do like the water park, though.
I do
That's
too,
like-
but By like July, mid-July and on, it's so freaking humid and hot.
Honestly, we just didn't go as much as we did last year. I think Violet only went 3 times.
I think Thomas and I went more this year than we did last year, but we could tell kind of like once July started, we would like plan it, and that would be like, today's high is like 99 and it's super humid, and we were like, nah.
And everybody goes to the water park because it's like the main attraction in our town.
Yeah.
So
it's the main attraction for all surrounding counties too.
Yeah, so like there's so many people. The kids love it though. So we probably won't go this weekend. It's supposed to rain in the highs in the 70s, which I love, but it's the last weekend for the water park. Yeah. So, but we probably won't even bother with it. We'll just, I'm
sure it'll be super busy anyways.
Yeah. The passes are still nice though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we refrain from basically talking about the book at all, which is actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
We had a friend reach out to us over the week, and she was like, JT, we're talking about you. She was asking about the book and where we were at, and she kind of, and I was like, I want to say things, but we're really not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, because if I talk about things now, I'll forget to talk about them later.
Right. So it's, it was super hard. I private messaged her a little bit. But she also listened to it on audiobook. So there was the pictures were missing for her. So I was like, well, that sucks. So I sent her a few pictures, private message.
You sent JT some pictures.
Not those kind of pictures. Anyway, so it's weird because, we had, even with the after series, we had talked for basically 2.5 years about those books. So it was weird not being able to have like any conversation, because I was like, anytime I wanted to message you and be like, oh my gosh, or, whatever, I was like, nope, I got to save it for the podcast. Yeah. So I refrained from talking about it. So here we are. Now I'll probably forget everything. We do want to make one correction. So chapter 5, I said. I didn't correct you though. And I just was like, oh yeah. We said Steven Spielberg.
Was what's the word I'm looking for here?
He recommended and reviewed.
What would you call him though? He's a celebrity. There it is. I said that Steven Spielberg was the celebrity that recommended this book or gave it 5 stars. It was actually Stephen King, which makes much more sense, because Stephen King himself is an author. So I'm sorry, Steven Spielberg. You're still great. But
Titanic rules.
It was Stephen King, which makes a lot more sense.
That was James Cameron. I'm sorry. Man.
Struggling a little bit.
Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg.
What's that?
We'll get it right. Sarah's a little baby, so she doesn't know.
Gen Z, thank you.
She doesn't know a lot of cool stuff, like Jurassic Park. No. Anyway, James Cameron did Titanic, not Steven Spielberg. Credit where credit is due. Anyway, Stephen King was the one that said Hidden Pictures was really good. He loved it. Not Steven Spielberg.
I thought you were going to pause after Stephen King said Hidden Pictures. I thought that's where you were stopping.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so we noticed that when we listened to our last episode, and we laughed hysterically, and then we were like, we should probably mention that next episode.
Yeah.
So here we are. Correction made. No DMs. Thank you. Okay. So let's just jump in. Thoughts, feelings?
I don't know. I feel like for us, this is a good book to discuss because, one, we love books, but there's a lot of mental health
Yeah.
issues in this book, like more so than other books. Like this was straight up like, I have an addiction, I suffered loss, trigger warnings, drug
Oh,
use,
yeah. Trigger warnings.
loss,
Grief, substance abuse.
uh, a little bit of, I don't want to say sexual assault because it didn't get to that point, but
I was getting ready to say,
definitely,
like, boundaries crossed.
it was definitely predatory. Manipulation.
The parents try to use
Yeah.
the
That got me.
transgender.
Oh, that is not where I thought you were going.
Uh,
Yes, so yes, transphobia too, trigger warning, because it's pretty much what these parents, that's what the Maxwells did. They were like, we're woke. And that's why we didn't bring it up to you, because we thought you would judge our child.
yeah, because you're religious.
So
there's that.
they did a lot of inappropriate things.
Yeah. So, like, did you like it? We'll just start there.
Yes, and I was talking to Thomas earlier, and this is what I said. I was like, this book, it starts off a little slow, but I was pulled in pretty quick, and after, like, page 80, like, I was in it hardcore. It pulled me in. I really loved this book. And then I got to the ending, and the ending wasn't bad. I just feel like there are so many different ways they could have taken it, and the way they did take it, it was just kind of meh.
That's, yeah. I felt like the whole book was kind of slow until it wasn't.
I mean, I could see it feeling slow too. The way they switched it up there at the end, and then it's like all the dramatic stuff came out in like the last 50 pages.
Yes.
But it wasn't even like what I was expecting. So, like, I mean, yes, great plot twist, but then it's just kind of, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
Honestly, so we got this book off Book Talk. Book Talk.
Yeah.
And the person that we watched who fully recommended it and was, I mean, the way she recommended it was like
that it kept her awake at night. Like, that
it was so creepy, so spooky that she was afraid to go to sleep.
It did not do that for me at all. It was just like it's more like a drama than anything.
Right. Okay. There was one thing, and I wanted to text you this the other day and be like, oh my God. But I didn't. I was like, I'll save it for the podcast. So I started reading it Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the very first picture, which is, let me think. Hold on. I might need to look. Let me look up.
Is that where they're sitting in the kitchen and Anya is
No.
under the table?
No. Hold on. I'm looking. Oh. That's not it either. Shit. Sorry, guys. Oh, wait. I think I've got it. Oh, this.
Yeah, which another thing that kind of gets me too is like the way Teddy depicts Anya and all of this. It makes Anya so much more creepy than she actually is when
she's his mother, or her mother. And we're back. Oh, so I read up until that page. My baby woke up, and that creeped me out.
Well, yeah, and what I was saying was, it's like,
oh yeah,
the way Teddy draws Anya in the pictures makes her sound so much more scary than when Mallory first sees her and describes her.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Anya's neck is broken and she's like scratched up and stuff, but she's not this dark energy. Like, Mallory even describes her as like white light and very pale and like positive energy. So, like, I don't know if Carolyn and Ted kind of like influenced the way Teddy saw Anya.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not this scary being that Teddy depicts.
Right. Like, he just made her out to be so much more creepy.
Which I think is also on the Maxwell's doing because, you know, they were trying to convince Teddy that there was nothing there and that if it was, it's really bad. So, like, Teddy being young and impressionable and with the Maxwells for, like, 4 years at this point. Of course, he's going to see Anya and think she's worse than she is, but...
Yeah. Well, so I saw that picture. This was the only time I was ever creeped out. I saw that picture and I was like, ooh, that's so creepy. And so I went to bed and it was like 3:00 in the morning and I woke up and my son was standing in our room just staring at us. Mm-hmm. And it scared the crap out of me. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was just trying to wake his dad up. And I was like, it's scary. I was like, that's all I could think about was that little girl standing with.
Yeah. That picture.
The ghost.
Yeah, that picture got me a little bit, you know, wasn't really what I was expecting. I honestly didn't know what to expect when this started. I feel like the picture where Mallory and Teddy are sitting at the kitchen table and Anya's laying on the floor under the table gets me a little more just because.
Yeah.
It's more involved at that point because then it's not just Teddy in the pictures. Mallory's like, oh, I'm literally here. And Teddy thinks there's something with us.
Right. Well, when she says, like, is Anya here? It says he looks at the empty chair.
It says, she's like, he looks around and then says, no, she's not.
Yeah. And it's like, ugh, that was so creepy. That was the only time that I felt creeped out. And I wanted to get like chills. I wanted to be creeped out and I wanted it to be spooky and scary. That's kind of what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I felt disappointed. I didn't think it was a bad book. I mean, I enjoyed reading it. It had good plot twists. Like, it made me invested. Mm-hmm. But I wanted more. Mm-hmm. And I think that was my issue with the book. I wanted to be creeped out. I wanted to feel scared and just like, mm-hmm. you know, I wanted to get chills. And like the only time I did was those 2 different pictures.
Yeah, it was more of a drama to me than, you know, I mean, it was a little bit of a thriller too, but it wasn't a horror book by any means. It was just like a mystery, really. Right.
With a little like ghost action in there, which was still good. I enjoyed reading it. So we have Mallory, mm-hmm. who she's a recovering addict.
She's 18?
21. I believe she's 21.
No, I meant 18 months sober.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, she's 21, but she's reached that point where she's been sober long enough that she's trusting in herself that she can leave the sober living home and still be successful. So,
yeah.
Which, it sounds like she has experience working with kids before this too, because she talks about being, like, working at a daycare while she was at the sober living house, so.
Yeah. And then we have, you know, Ted and Caroline. Mm-hmm. Or Carolyn.
I guess it just depends on how you want to say it.
I think I say Caroline. I don't know.
I say Carolyn, but I mean,
maybe it was Caroline. I can't remember. Anyway, so we have Mom and Dad and Teddy.
Russell, Adrian's parents, Mallory,
and then Mitzi.
Yep, Mitzi, and then Mallory's mom and sister have small parts to play too.
Yes. So we're introduced to Mallory. She is interviewing with the Maxwells mm-hmm. to get a job nannying for their 5-year-old son, which the whole interview thing was weird.
Right, and the way Carolyn is presented in the beginning, I was like, wow, she's a psychiatrist and she works with, addiction all day, and she's still, like, supportive of Mallory and wants to give her a chance because Mallory's been so successful, and then it just, punches you right in the face later, so.
Yeah, it was, like, too perfect. Like, they're all organic, they're healthy, they don't eat meat, or red meat, I'm sorry. They don't eat red meat. They are just basically health nuts.
They have a lot of money. Carolyn's a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Living in one of the best neighborhoods in New Jersey.
Yeah, and they have a cottage out back, and it was just picture perfect. And so basically, you know, then we meet Ted, who is kind of an asshat during the interview,
Right.
which I can't begrudge as a mother. You know,
Right.
you're very...
He was asking the questions that honestly Caroline probably should have asked too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, later out you find why Ted did what he did, but
Which was weird.
Ted was still gross.
Creep.
He's a grossy.
Yeah. The whole book, though, he was cringy.
I feel like there's a lot going on at one time, because it's not just like, here's a ghost and a little kid can see the ghost.
Right.
It's also, here's an addict, here's a psychiatrist that uses, you know, people's mental illnesses against them. Here's this pedophilia, you know, he's obviously not a pedophile because Mallory's an adult, but he's a pervert. And
yeah. Ooh, no.
There's just a lot.
Yeah. So she gets the job. Things, you know, she gets unpacked. Things are going well. And then we really start to see Carolyn's personality seeping through.
Yeah.
At points.
Which,
like, yeah, go ahead.
Mallory notices a change in Ted, like, immediately, because it's a complete 180. He went from being a douche at the interview to being overly friendly, and honestly, he starts, like, hugging her and touching her hair and stuff, like, the first day she's there, and she doesn't read into it the way it's supposed, you know, like, the way he intends it. She just thinks he's, like, this really great dad that's trying to make her feel better. She kind of sees Carolyn and Ted as parent figures for her.
Right.
No, Ted's just a pervert.
Yeah. Turns out, spoiler, Ted's a perv. So, and then, you know, we're introduced to Teddy and his imaginary friend, Anya. Mm-hmm. And, you know, creepy, like we said, the first picture it shows is him and Anya's like this black-eyed looking demon. Mm-hmm. Not what I would think when he's, you know, seeing his mother, basically.
Right.
So, yeah. So then we're introduced and things, you know, creepy, but kids have imaginary friends. It's, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
It's, you know, coping for kids. It's different things for different kids.
And after, you know, you find out the plot twist at the end, you can kind of start seeing the signs early on. Like, Mallory tells Carolyn about, you know, Teddy asking about what nipples are and what girl private parts are compared to boys. And, you know, Mallory kind of just, you know, answers it without really answering it and pushing it off. And the second Caroline realizes that Mallory and Teddy had anything similar to a conversation about Teddy's anatomy, she's like, no, you send him to me. You don't talk about that.
And she had a book about, like, cunnilingus, which, no.
So, you know, there's that.
There's
and
the telltale signs.
The principal calling and Mallory taking, you know, a memo down and getting distracted by Teddy. And then that's, like, the first time Caroline ever actually really gets pissed at Mallory. And I think Mallory attached too quickly, which kind of probably talks about, you know, some attachment issues with Mallory.
Right.
Because the first time, and Caroline didn't even raise her voice. She just got a little stern, and then, you know, Mallory starts crying and Ted's all over her.
Yeah.
Which is also a telltale sign about what Ted's actually up to. Yeah. I thought it was super creepy from the beginning. The first time
I did too.
The book mentioned anything about Ted touching Mallory, I was like, he doesn't really know her, and she's technically an adult, so...
Yeah, and I was like, oh, is this going to be one of those things where, like, the nanny and the dad hook up? But, you know, she sees them as, like you said, parental figures, so that's not on her mind at all. And I was like, oh, I hope that's not where this is headed. It was creepy.
I mean, Mallory literally, really early on, says she feels like she's part of the family. I mean, even at the end when Caroline's telling Mallory all of the history, all of the truth, she's like, it's like a mother telling a daughter a story. So, like, she never once saw Ted and Caroline as anything other than parental figures in a family. So
Yeah.
Ted acting the way he did was just cringe. And it was disheartening the way Caroline, I mean, she just did it to manipulate Mallory.
Right. Yeah. She wanted her to feel part of the family so she hopefully wouldn't catch on to anything.
Yeah, it was her way to manipulate. Yeah.
So, then we meet Mitzi, who is the crazy next door neighbor.
I feel like that's what I'm going to be like when I'm Mitzi's age.
You're going to be like, excuse me.
Eccentric.
I
Ouija boards,
am
speaking to spirits, reading palms,
the cool stuff.
the good stuff.
Fun. I'll come to you and be like, read my palms.
Clients come in the back door.
That's what she said.
That's literally what Mitzi said.
Backdoor guests are the best. So we meet Mitzi, who she's the one that brings up Annie, right?
Yes, because, and I think Mitzi herself is what causes the split at that point, because Mallory only ever calls her Anya, and then Mitzi is just trying to get a rise out of Mallory and starts talking about Annie Barrett and the cottage out back, and so that's how the two start to overlap. So really, Mitzi's the one that gets Mallory on the wrong page.
Yeah, that's true, because Annie wasn't a thing until Mitzi got involved.
Right.
So we're moving, we're chugging along. Then more creepy pictures start popping up.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mallory, took me a second, I had a brain fart. Mallory addresses the pictures with Ted and Carolyn. They're like, look, Teddy, these are fake. They're not real. And Anya's not real. Stop bringing her up. Don't draw her anymore.
Which is so contradictory, because literally 3 days, 4 days later, a week before this, you're like, yeah, that's your imaginary friend. That's totally normal. Telling Mallory to play along like it's totally normal, which it is normal for a 5-year-old to have an imaginary friend. But now it's getting a little serious, and Mallory can maybe pick up a few signs that weren't there before, and suddenly it's not okay to have an imaginary friend.
Right. So, they're like, basically like, cut this out. You're not drawing this crap anymore. And which Mallory then feels really bad for, because, trust has been broken, which, we know how that is being therapists. Like,
yeah, I mean, they tried to sabotage Teddy's relationship with Mallory. I mean, instead of it being like, we're concerned parents for you, Teddy, we want to know what's going on, it's, you're scaring Mallory, so stop.
Yeah. Yeah, they throw Mallory under the bus, which, then breaks their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad. I felt bad for Teddy.
Yeah.
Because that's his person. That's who he confides in. And now he's just like, well, she told on me. She threw me under the bus. That's what he feels like. So that's when things start escalating. To now, Anya begins to use Teddy as like a tool.
Yeah.
To tell her story.
Yeah.
Which Teddy is, aka, oh no, Flora.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy, aka Flora, to tell Anya's story.
Which I think, just based on the plot and the story, I feel like, I mean, because I'm sure Teddy's been drawing for a long time. I think Carolyn just said what she said, to smooth things over with Mallory. But I think the seriousness didn't start until Anya was like, you know what? Someone's finally listening. Someone outside of the Maxwells notices something, and I can hopefully warn her.
Yeah.
Which, that's another supernatural thing about this. Not only is there a spirit using someone else to tell their story, she predicts the future. Like, she knows the future. She knows what happens to Mallory.
Yeah.
Like, she's trying to warn her, like, weeks in advance. She already knows exactly how it's going to happen.
Well, that's because she knows that they're murderers. Not only did they murder her, they murdered Mitzi. And because she's like, watch your back, because they're going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just who they are. If you get in their way, they're going to end your life. Even though Ted was actually trying to get with her in the biblical way.
Literally the whole freaking time.
Yeah. Weird. But then we meet Adrian. I liked Adrian. He believed her right off the bat. I really liked Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
When she lied to him, I knew that was just going to blow up.
Yes, because she just kept piling on, and then his parents heard the lie, and then his parents' friends heard the lie, which you could tell from the second she lied to Adrian's parents, his mother was on to her. She was like...
But then it never really mentioned that again. I thought that was going to blow up somehow, but honestly, the next time they saw his mom, she was super nice and was talking about the Annie Barrett thing.
Which, I don't know, maybe in between Adrian was like, Mom, I've got the hots for her. Chill.
Yeah.
Or he did say later on, he did Google Mallory and saw that in high school she was actually a really talented runner. Which kind of, supported that her lie. So maybe the mom was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But it just never, I guess maybe she had a soft spot because they were like doing library research. I don't know. It just, I thought something was going to blow up with the lie and mom. Like, mom was going to be like, well, I spoke to somebody at Penn State and they've never heard of you before. Or I thought that was going to lead somewhere bigger. And it didn't, which was fine, but it never, sorry.
No, you're fine.
He never said, well, I told my parents and, they understood, or I told my parents and they hate your guts.
Well, and that's the point I was going to make too. I'm used to reading big ass books, and this was a relatively short book. This is a book that I read in 3 sittings. I sat down, read a third of it, sat down. Okay, I read a fifth of it, sat down, read half of it.
Yeah.
And then finished it. So, I got through this a lot faster than I do normal books. And for this book to go as slow as it did, the last 80-something pages, there's just so much. I mean, you give us a year later update on Flora, but you don't talk about what's happened with Mallory and Adrian. How did he forgive her? How did Adrian's parents find out? But you don't find out how Mallory and Adrian moved forward, because obviously the truth has to come out to Adrian's parents at some point.
Right.
So,
which I guess he probably wasn't the focus of the book, but it still would have been just a little nice update.
Well, and I feel like if you're going to make a point for Adrian and Mallory to go to Mallory's home and Mallory tell him the truth and him be upset with her and him literally make the comment, I can't tell my parents the truth, it's embarrassing, and then you just a year later they're happily together and Adrian's asking Mallory to move in with him.
Yeah.
Weeks after all the shit went down.
And I thought with her being a recovering addict, I thought that throughout the book she was going to have moments where she really thought she was crazy and it was going to tempt her to relapse.
Which I think also reflects on Russell too, because Russell had convinced her she was having false memories. And the way he did that was saying that the thing that happened at Penn State with the study had to be a false memory because Mallory couldn't find any information on it. And then it turned out to be true. I think Russell himself, kind of overstepped there and caused Mallory to doubt herself when, in fact, she really never had any false memories. It was just that one thing.
Right.
And it wasn't even false. It was true.
Yeah. I just, I think I was underwhelmed by the book itself.
Yes. I mean, Mallory did really well to be sober and that kind of thing. I mean, she didn't even, drink caffeine. She only ate chocolate, and that was it. She didn't even tempt herself with caffeine. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know, I'm not a recovering addict or anything, but from those that I do know, even at 18 months, it's still hard.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe because she was kind of secluded in the cottage, it was easier. But, I mean, Mitzi was literally next door smoking pot and stuff. And she was never once tempted, even though she knew.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was the time at Mitzi's where she looked in her cabinet, But she, scolded herself. She was very ashamed. I just even, I expected her to maybe be like, I'll take one with me and just keep it just in case. Or
Yeah. There's a lot of buildup about her being a recovering addict. I mean, they throw in the drug screens as a trump card. Russell's like, you need to get back into NA meetings to protect yourself. Those kind of things. But then Mallory's never actually tempted anywhere. I mean, she just looked in. She wasn't even tempted in Mitzi's bathroom. It was just an old habit, like muscle
right.
memory, basically.
Yeah, like to peek through cabinets.
There wasn't the struggle there that you would expect for a recovering addict. So
Right. And I expected throughout the book her to be like, I'm losing my mind, and fall and at least be like, I'm tempted to fall back into old patterns. Not necessarily I'm going to follow through with it and relapse, but I'm tempted.
well, and I just found it weird that it was Mitzi's bathroom where she did the looking through the cabinets. Why did she never do it in the Maxwell's house?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was just a stressful situation because of Anya slash Annie, but she's in the Maxwell's house every day, everywhere in that house. And
that's true.
The thing that triggers you is Mitzi's crusty bathroom.
And the coffee.
Yes,
but,
that's probably what I guess that makes sense, the coffee, because that's like the most addictive thing she's had in her system at like 20 months at that point, pretty much. So
yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. I feel like there's not as much struggle as you would expect.
Yeah. I forgot where we left off. So, where things start to escalate, but she met Adrian. He believes her. He starts, helping her research. They start becoming closer. Caroline's mood swings are off and on. Ted's being a total creeper.
Yeah, Carolyn's getting worse. I mean, she's getting to a point where Mallory messes up a little bit and she's screaming now.
Yeah.
Like, she is not the same person. And she throws being an addict in Mallory's face. I can't remember exactly what she says. She was talking about how addicts do this and that. She works with them every day. And it was just basically a slight at Mallory to... Obviously, it was Caroline's way of telling Mallory to shut up, like to put her back in her place. But as a psychiatrist saying that to a client, that would just screw up that whole person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
That was so detrimental to Mallory. I mean, you could tell, like, that shit hurted.
Yeah. Especially because she is doing so well.
Yeah.
Like, she's rocking it. And, like...
She trusts Caroline. She's like, I can relate to this person. She knows the other
She's
side
like a
of things.
mother.
Yeah.
And the fact that she, like, she wakes up ready to, like, crush the day hanging out with this kid. And then we start to see, even the situation continuing to escalate with Anya.
Well, and things are escalating with Ted, too. I mean, he gets in the pool when he sees Mallory in the pool. She's just doing her workout routine that Russell sent her, and she purposely waits till Ted and Carolyn are usually asleep, and then Ted joins her, and then, like, is trying to teach her how to be a better swimmer, and talks about her tattoo, and even Mallory was like, that made me feel so inappropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
I think Ted kind of realizes that he crossed the line there, because then he's immediately like, oh, don't worry, Carolyn has a tattoo she doesn't like either, but, like, that doesn't make it better. You were just staring at Mallory's body.
Yeah. Weird. So then I'm trying to think what comes next. The seance. They have the seance to kind of figure things out. It doesn't go well. It's all gibberish. Mitzi gets pissed.
And of course, Teddy tells everything to Carolyn and Ted, and there's another big fight. And this is where Ted super crosses a line.
When he gets in her bed?
Yeah, and then she finds the tissue in the floor next to the bed, and her bra's in the bed, which means he literally masturbated to her undergarments.
Yeah. Is this a happy tissue or a sad tissue?
It's a nasty tissue. But
gross.
I mean, like, she has this blow up with Carolyn and Ted, and the first person she goes to is Adrian, which, like, I think that kind of foreshadows, like,
their relationship.
Yeah, their relationship, their bond, and things go really well for them, like, they have a good night, and she learns a little bit more about Annie Barrett, and I think in that moment, Mallory can already sense, like, the person that I am experiencing at the Maxwell's house is not Annie Barrett. This is not the same art. So, I mean, I think she starts to realize sooner than she even realizes.
Yeah. Yeah, because when Adrian's mom brings that stuff, she's like, this is completely different. Mm-hmm. So, we get a little bit of like, maybe it's not in the direction we're thinking it's going to be. So then we get to like the last 50 pages where just stuff hits the fan. I mean, when I was so confused when they were swimming and Mallory realizes that Teddy's a girl, but it doesn't tell you. It just says, I realize the Maxwells have been lying to me.
Yeah,
Oh, and this is after Mitzi gets murdered.
Yeah, that's a plot twist. I mean, if Teddy hadn't have pulled Mallory in there just out of curiosity, Mallory would have gotten her severance package and moved on, and Teddy would still be a victim. Yep. I mean, Teddy's always going to be a victim. I didn't mean it like that. But, like, Teddy would have been rescued.
Right.
But where does that... So she comes back from Adrian's and, Ted's being creepy. Oh, and then she goes to the Maxwell's house the next day, to continue. Which there are so many instances where they have, like, a really rough night and it seems like the Maxwells are at the point where they're going to fire her and they don't.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I felt like several times in this book she was going to get fired and then she just got up for work like it was no big deal. And nothing ever came of it. It was just weird to me.
And then she finally did get fired.
And didn't even realize she was getting fired. Like, that was the least fireable thing,
Yeah, passing out for 4 hours and writing all over the walls. I don't know. I could see that if someone was like, left my 5-year-old unattended for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see, okay, this is the last straw. We've given you a lot of opportunity not to suck. Mm-hmm. This is it. But, even then they're super nice. Like, they're wanting to throw a party which was weird, I thought. I'm like, I guess they wanted to do it. They said Teddy needed closure.
I think they were trying to send her off quietly, too. Like, if we try to be nice after this and throw you a party, you'll be pleased and move on, and you won't ask questions, and you won't try to get answers about Anya anymore because you'll be distracted by our kindness.
Right.
Which, another point I was going to bring up is the second they decide not to let Teddy draw anymore, which, why would you let Teddy have access to things to draw anyways if you're already scared of him drawing stuff with Anya in it,
Yeah.
Why? This whole book wouldn't be a book if they had just taken his pencils and his sketchbook in the beginning.
Yeah.
But the second they take that away from Teddy and give Teddy the iPad, completely different person.
Yeah.
Just complete 180. Wants nothing to do with Mallory. Is engrossed in the iPad. I mean, even Mallory says, like, this isn't the same kid.
Right. That whole thing was just kind of weird. I think really that was just a setup before then Anya to take over her and draw all over the walls.
Which was also weird because, like, every time Anya was gonna, use Teddy, there was, like, a build-up, and Teddy kind of knew what was going on and then felt like it was a dream and stuff, and would ask if things were real, but when it happened to Mallory, she had no idea. She just woke up from a 4-hour nap and saw the walls. But what she was dreaming and what she was drawing was not the same thing. Whereas when Teddy was doing it, he had to ask if it was real because it was the same thing.
Right.
So it was just different. And with Teddy, like, he just sat in the same spot and went to work. Anya literally had to make Mallory get up, go to the kitchen, climb up, grab the stuff down, and then draw all over the walls. And somehow draw on sketchbook paper, because later when Mallory goes to confront the Maxwells, there's 2 pieces of paper that she missed. There were the 2 pieces of the puzzle that her and Adrian were missing to figure out what happened to Anya.
And it showed the
stun gun.
The stun gun that
Yeah.
Carolyn gave
So
Mallory.
Mallory drew all over the walls, minus 2 pictures that were on sketch paper, which also makes no sense, but...
So then, finally she gets fired. Finally.
Which, I don't know about most 21-year-olds, but I know if I was 21 and I was a live-in nanny and someone fired me, I would have left that day.
Same.
I mean, obviously she didn't really have anywhere to go and she didn't want to relapse, so she was trying to protect herself. But it wasn't that she just didn't leave. She also continued to prove herself. Like, she used the remainder of her time there to continue finding out the truth about Annie/Anya.
Yeah, she's like, I have to prove it to them.
They're just going to think you're crazy. I mean, at this point, they've literally said many times, we don't believe you. This is false memories you're having because you're an addict.
Exactly. Like, I think I would have cut my losses and left. Because obviously, the person's not wanting to hurt Teddy. But that's probably why I would have left him in an abusive situation.
Just like that wouldn't have been no fault of Mallory if she had left. I just, as a normal... I don't want to say normal. Like, at 21, if I lost a job, I'm out.
Yeah.
So...
Which she was waiting on Russell, too, to come back. Because she really didn't have anywhere to go.
Right.
But, yeah, I would have felt awkward staying there and just hanging out with him, especially at a party, which I guess they wanted closure for him, and she did care about Teddy, so there was that. So, I don't know. It's back and forth. It's weird.
Yeah.
But, so then, she finds out Teddy's a girl, a.k.a. Flora.
Mm-hmm.
Anya is her mother.
Annie Barrett has absolutely nothing to do with this fucking story.
Yeah. That's literally just to throw you off. Something else that just kind of like got put in that I didn't really care about was, not that I didn't care, I felt like it was thrown in there randomly, was her sister dying. Mallory's sister dying.
Right, yes. For Beth passing away in such a traumatic way, and that being what caused Mallory, to start using in the first place. She mentions Beth occasionally, like the reader already knows who Beth is, and then you don't really know anything about Beth until she's telling Adrian the truth, and then that's it.
Right. You hear that, her sister passed, but that's it. And she just briefly thinks about it, I think, like, once.
Well, and another thing, too, not once do they mention Mallory actually ever receiving therapy. She gets treatment for her substance use, and she goes to NA, and she's in sober living. But the whole reason she even started using is because her sister died. She never gets therapy for it, yet somehow it magically does not impact her later on. And if she's going to have false memories about anything, I'm pretty sure it's going to be about Beth.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing, I just was like, it mentions her sister dying in the middle, and then I never really think about it again until she starts talking about the car wreck, and basically she's the reason her sister's dead. There was no, like, little hints of memories throughout.
For it to be the reason Mallory is where she is right now, there's not much about it. Mm-mm. It plays very minimal role in this story. Yeah,
even though it plays a huge role in her life, that, she's feeling the guilt over her sister dying, but also that's the reason she became an addict. And so I just felt like there was no emphasis on it really until there was some emphasis.
Well, and the reason she's not even around her mom and stuff is because of her. She started using over losing Beth. So, like, her mom's not even really talked about. And she left her mom after she graduated high school to continue using, and they just don't have a relationship.
Yeah, until, like, her mom randomly pops back up at the very end, and I almost felt like that was just tying up a loose end.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Beth was thrown in there to give Mallory a reason to be an addict, and I feel like Mom was thrown in there just because it was something that needed to have a conclusion.
Yeah, same. So, yeah. So basically, Mallory's like, I'm going to confront them because they've been lying to me. We don't know what about at that point. So she goes in.
Well, and honestly, I don't think Mallory knows everything she's going to say when she walks in there. She just brings up that Teddy is a female. I don't
Well,
want
she
to
also finds out that Anya means mommy, and it never says that until she walks in
Right.
there.
She walks in with those two things, and then it just fucking
Blows up.
everything is fucking told, like everything is
Yeah.
there is the whole story. And I feel like she herself is kind of piecing it together as she's calling Carolyn and Ted out. And she's even in her head saying, I need to stop talking. Ted's literally looking at her like, please stop talking.
Yeah, please shut up.
And she just keeps going.
Yeah, she's like, okay, so Teddy's a girl. Teddy is Flora.
Anya is not a person. It's the word for mommy.
Yeah.
You guys never went to Spain because
Yeah, he had never been on a plane.
Teddy had never been on a plane.
Yeah.
And Ted gives that half-assed bullshit excuse of, well, he was knocked out on Benadryl.
We overdosed him on Benadryl, and he slept for an entire day. And I'm like, if I overdosed my child on Benadryl, I would have taken this to the doctor.
I mean, even Caroline at that point is like, seriously, Ted, that's what you're going to go with?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even give a shit anymore. She's like, I don't give a shit. I want you to know the truth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still going to kill you, lol.
So, yeah, we've got that situation. So then, she's really like, they're not going to let me just walk out of here now. I know everything. I've pieced everything together.
And then she literally turns her back on them. Like, are you stupid?
And Ted hits her in the head
with a wine bottle.
Ow.
Knocks her the fuck out.
Yeah, she's like bleeding. And so
also, none of this wakes Teddy up. This whole fight between Ted and Carolyn and Mallory does not wake Teddy up.
And where was Anya?
Yeah, Anya magically shows up at the very end to save Mallory, but she can't show up now because she moves Teddy's body.
She while they're out in the woods, she takes over Teddy's body
to take out Carolyn, but she can't take over Mallory's body to just deal with it now.
Right, like, here we are. Let's get this over with. So
I don't know. Maybe Anya was upstairs trying to protect Teddy in case things escalated up there. But
that's true. So then
we'll give you that out, Anya.
So then Mallory wakes up in her cottage. She's tied down. Then gagged. Yeah, it's ugly. Feeling a little woozy.
She's just hanging out, like the lights are out. She's just chilling.
That's so creepy.
And then, of course, Carolyn walks in, who at this point, I hope everyone who read or listened to this book realizes that Carolyn's a psychopath. I mean, for her to be able to control her emotions like that, manipulate others.
Right. And she talked about how she was so angry at Teddy's biological mom. Her name was like Margit. Or
Margit. I think it's Margit.
Margit. She was so mad at Margit when they were like, she was like, I would just walk and she'd be like doing other things. And I'm like, the fact that she's got her kid at the park every Saturday is a big deal.
Also, you literally gave Teddy an iPad the second his drawings were problematic. So
yeah, she was like, and just like, that's crazy behavior. Like, I got in a fight with her because she wasn't mothering the way I thought she was supposed to mother. It was crazy. That's crazy behavior.
That doesn't mean you steal someone's child.
Right. Like, just left with the child. And so she injects her with something. We think that
it is heroin laced with fentanyl.
That's what she says it is.
Yes, that's what we think, because she literally says it's heroin laced with fentanyl. You stole it from Mitzi's house yesterday when you were looking for her, but you didn't realize it was laced with fentanyl, and that's what you're going to overdose on. And then, of course, Mallory gets Carolyn to tell her the whole story because she's trying to buy time for Adrian, and Carolyn This also points out that she's a psychopath. She's like, hell yeah, someone wants to know my story. Let me tell you about how I killed a lady, stole her child, moved across the country twice, and
Killed another lady.
How I killed Mitzi, and how I'm about to kill you, and how my life is perfect.
I'm literally a serial killer at this point. Once you're dead, I'm a serial killer.
Yep.
So,
and she just fucking talks about Ted like he's just like her fucking puppet. I told Ted to clean the mess up. Ted cleaned it up. Ted fucking sucks, but he's Teddy's dad.
Yeah. He was just a pawn.
A fucking perverted pawn.
Yeah. So we find out, like, she injects her. Mallory's having some issues. She sees Margit over in the corner, which
literally thinks she's overdosed because she's finally seeing Margit.
I did creep myself out here because I imagined it to look like the lady from like The Grudge over in the corner.
I mean, from the way Mallory depicted it, like Margit was looking pretty rough. She wasn't some black spirit, but she was looking rough.
Yeah. So still, she's really not doing anything. Carolyn tells her, I'm going to find you tomorrow. You're going to be dead. We'll give you a really nice burial, blah, blah, blah. Crazy talk. And then a few minutes later, Ted comes in after Carolyn left and is like, don't worry, it was baby powder.
Also,
which is weird.
One, how the fuck do Carolyn and Ted not see each other passing each other? Like, oh, Carolyn left your cottage. Now I'm going to sneak out here so you can be my little sex thing. Also, just because you switched it with baby powder, I'm pretty sure if you inject yourself with burnt baby powder, that's probably still not healthy for you.
That's what I was like. There's no way that she's still not, like, having a hard time. I don't know what the effects of injecting yourself. I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the effects of injecting yourself with baby powder are, but I can imagine that it's not just like, oh, you were injected with baby powder, no big deal. Like, I mean, you ingest a little bit of, like, hydrogen peroxide, and you gotta be careful. I can't imagine injecting yourself with something like baby powder.
Can I eat baby powder? Cornstarch baby powder is harmless. Talcum powder can be harmful if inhaled, but is harmless if eaten.
Inhaled? I imagine what it's like if it's in your veins.
They say you're not even supposed to use it on babies anymore because it causes cancer. So, I don't know. That was just weird to me. Like, don't worry, it was baby powder. Like, what? I mean, like, liquid baby powder? I'm so confused.
Like, if anything, like, switch it with, like, salt or... I mean, because you can literally inject yourself with salt water, you're fine. That's what's in an IV bag. That makes more sense than baby powder.
Saline, yeah. Yeah, that, I didn't get it. I was confused.
Yeah, after he mentioned that and, like, it was supposed to move on, I was like, brown sludge went in her arm. And it's baby powder, it's fine. No. Like, I feel like that's still going to have some bad side effects on her body.
Still problematic. Yeah, and then we find out Ted's a big old perv.
The camera. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's been spying. She said he's just been waiting for you to take a shower.
I mean, that means he's watched her every time she's undressed because... It talks about her putting her pajamas on every night. She showers after every run. She showers before bed every night. He's literally watched her undress every day for 2 months.
Yeah. Gross. And he's like, I know how you feel about me, and we'll just move and leave everything behind. And
what do you mean how she feels about you? She barely talks to you.
Yeah, like, until I tell you, like, hey, I think you're hot and I'd like to bang, don't assume that whatsoever. So that was bothersome.
I mean, the only time she's ever close to him is when he literally pulls her in for, like, a hug or something because Carolyn was mean to her.
Yeah, didn't like it. Thought it was weird.
And then, of course, Ted gets what's coming to him because...
He gets
Did you
shot.
really not think that Carolyn knew you went to the cottage? I mean, she has everything planned out precisely, you idiot.
Yeah. So, yeah, Carolyn shoots him.
Several times.
Yeah.
3 times. And then you hear 2 more gunshots after Mallory makes a run for it.
Yeah. But she goes back for Teddy.
Also, I don't know how Ted was not dead after the first 3 gunshots because every time he opened his mouth, blood just came out, but he was still
That's
trying
what
to
I
talk.
thought too.
Because your lungs would fill up and you would literally suffocate. But no, he was still trying to talk and just hanging out until Caroline shot him 2 more times.
For real. Yeah. I was like, if he's bleeding out his mouth, he's bleeding internally, and that's a bad sign.
I mean, if blood's coming out of his mouth every time he opens his mouth to talk, that means it's filling up his lungs, which means he should actively be suffocating to death.
Yes. So she shoots him some more. Honestly, I thought the ending was really abrupt.
Yeah.
You know, they go into the woods, her and Teddy. Carolyn chases him.
I don't like that Anya took over Teddy's body to kill Carolyn. I feel like it needed to be Mallory because Teddy's a child.
Right, which he doesn't remember, but still.
I mean, like, because at this point...
And he was covered in blood.
I mean, like, at this point, we are well aware that Anya can also take control of Mallory as well because of all the drawings. So, you know, take control of the adult, not the child, to kill another adult.
Yeah.
So, like, Teddy doesn't remember, so maybe that's better because Teddy would have seen Mallory do what she did.
That's what I was thinking. But still, he was covered in blood.
But still, he's also a child who just murdered someone.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't remember the act of doing it, he's covered in blood. It still happened. And someday Teddy...
And I think he sees her, right?
Yeah, and then some days Mallory, that you find out at the very end, this whole book was Mallory writing down everything that happened so that when Flora had questions, she had a book to read. So she's literally going to know that she killed Carolyn.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. She knows that she killed someone.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought the ending was just really abrupt. I felt like up until the last 50 pages, it was really just build up to the last 50 pages. Then there was, a lot in that 50 pages, and then the ending was super abrupt. And it gives you a little, epilogue of whatever. I even thought maybe there would be, a little cliffhanger, not cliffhanger, but just something creepy to, as an end note. It was a good story.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good story, but if you're going to jump 1 year in the future just for Mallory to see Flora one last time and it be awkward, you could have given us more about what happens between Mallory and her mom other than she just comes over for dinner one night.
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing right now?
You could have talked about how Adrian and Mallory repatched their relationship and what happened with Adrian's parents. You could have talked about the literal process that Mallory went through in that year before she went to college and waited on Flora to be ready to meet. I mean, there's just a lot of dead time.
Yeah, I agree. So that was Hidden Pictures.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add in?
No, I mean, I feel like it was a good book, and I feel like we did not tear this one apart like we did.
No, not at all. It was a good book. I enjoyed reading it. It was a nice change. It was something different. I would have liked a little more horror, thriller, psychological stuff.
Which, nothing against this book. I think I just got my hopes up based off the book talk video.
I did too.
So,
I don't understand.
I don't know. I feel like if I had known what to expect for this book when we read it, based on what the book is actually like, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted, some poltergeisty stuff.
Right. She literally said this book kept her up at night. So I was, expecting all the chills and thrills and...
Yeah. No, did not get that from this. Which, we do have our book picks out for the next chapter.
Yes. We will be reading Perfect Strangers by J.T. Geisman. I hope that I'm saying that name correctly.
It sounds right to me.
Yeah, sure. Yes. So that will be this next week's read, and then that episode will come out September 14th. So hope you guys enjoy that book. I heard it's a wild ride.
Yeah, Caitlin's been ready to read this one for a bit.
Yes, I've been waiting. I hope it does not disappoint me. I'm a little nervous. I feel like these books get really built up, and then...
I know. I feel like that's the problem with book talk, because some of these books that I'm like, yeah, I really want to read that. They beef it up, they're hamming it up over there, and then it's not at all what they say it is. So
yeah. So I'm really excited to read this next book. I've heard it's crazy. Once again, we will be going to see After Ever Happy on September 7th, we will meet at Kodo at 5:30 p.m. And, if you live around the Richmond area and you actually listen to us, we would love to hear from you. Or not hear from you, but we would love to see you. Like, come hang out with us. Come watch the movie with us. We'd love to have you. So the movie starts at 7 o'clock. Also, we are doing an Audible giveaway, 3 months of Audible. Once we hit 100 followers on Facebook and Instagram. I think Facebook's getting closer. Instagram's pretty stagnant.
Okay.
Yeah. So hop on Instagram, give us a follow. Like, share, subscribe. We all need all the positive reviews we can get. If you don't positively review, don't review at all. Thank you.
You can find us on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can reach out to us at booksandbestiespodcast@gmail.com. You can find our podcast anywhere. You can listen to music, so,
We currently do not have a book pick for September 21st. We would need that by Wednesday, September 7th. So
if you have something you want us to read for the podcast, let us know in the next week or so.
Yeah, reach out, let us know.
DM us, email us, text us if you know us personally.
Yep, we're always open to book recs. So, just hit us up. Like I said, we don't have one picked out. We will probably be picking out in the next few days.
Probably something spooky, just to give that another whirl.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fall, and we had high hopes for this one, so I feel like we need to give a second chance.
That's how I am. And the Perfect Strangers is kind of smutty.
Yeah, so it'll be a nice flip,
Yeah.
Thriller, smut, spooky dooky.
Yeah. So Perfect Strangers is smutty. Yeah, it's got like plot twists and stuff like that. So that'll be fun to read, but definitely we're ready for another thriller, spooky story again. Because, we'll probably be reading more spooky in October as well.
I feel like pretty much every chapter in October will be something horror or thriller related. I know we've already decided we will read at least one Stephen King book in October.
Yes, not it. That book is way too long for us to read in 1 week.
No, I want to read something I know very little about,
Right.
Something not as mainstream as something like it.
I read Misery in high school and I had to stop reading it because it was so intense. The books are, of course, we talked about this a lot. The books are always like a million times worse than the movie. Like, I know in it, like, in the book, he devours a baby whole.
Yeah.
That, no. As someone with a baby, I can't even.
You don't eat babies?
Oh, I give them lots of, I give my baby, not random babies. I give my baby lots of smooches.
They have a chemical, all humans have a chemical called adrenochrome that some conspiracy theorists out there think is the solution to the fountain of youth. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, the celebrity thing that they drink baby's blood.
Which, if you like conspiracies and spooky dooky and true crime.
We are actually going to be starting another podcast because we just love chit-chatting about everything, and we're very passionate about, I'm true crime.
I'm supernatural.
We're super passionate about that stuff, and we got to talking, and we were like, hey, this is something else we'd like to get into, and then we were like, let's just do another podcast. Why not? No big deal.
Basically, everything we text each other about or talk about in person, we are doing now just in front of microphones.
Yep, and YouTube.
And YouTube.
We're recording ourselves in every way you can record yourself.
This is literally a normal conversation for us, so.
Yeah. This is why we're besties. Anyway, we'll keep you guys posted on our upcoming new podcast. And yeah.
And we'll catch you next chapter, Smuts.
Later.